Hey guys, Star Watch Media here at Hamptons International Film Festival 2013 with the cast and filmmakers of the longest titled film in the program. Here we go. Bob Birdnow's
Remarkable Tale of Human Survival.
And the Transcendence of
Self.
Great. So you guys are all Texas natives. Welcome to the Hamptons. What is it like to be here? You guys have been, you're here for the world premiere, so how does it feel?
That feels great. The weather feels great. We're coming out of a hot Texas summer, and it's like we're in sweaters, and so it's just good all the way around.
So tell me about the process of this. The film actually started off as a play written by Eric Steele, which you starred in. So tell me about the beginning. Let's go way back to when it was a theatrical piece.
Well, it actually started as I'm an acting member of a theater company in Dallas called Kitchen Dog Theater that actually has a new play festival and did a reading of this script, which Eric wrote as a monologue. And the response to the monologue was so remarkable, just the reading of it, that we decided to produce it as a play. And so actually another company in Dallas, Second Thought Theater, took it on as a full-on production, one-man show. Did that a couple of times, and some other folks saw it and said, you guys really ought to shoot this. You ought to turn this into a film. And that's a short version of a longer story, but one thing led to another, and now here we are with...
How did y'all become involved?
So, I've produced several films for Eric. We actually had a film here last year called Cork's Cattle Baron that Bret shot. I've produced other films with Eric. Eric's also a producer, and we've collaborated on 3 or 4 films that he did not direct. And then we're also partners at a historic movie theater in Dallas called the Texas Theater. And so we're just sort of tied to the hip, and I'm forced to work with him for better or for worse, and he's forced to work with me for better or for worse. So, but no, we love each other. I mean, that's what's great about what we're doing. What we're doing in Dallas, and I'm sure people are doing it all over the country, but is we're getting to collaborate with our friends, and we work kind of with the same people, and it's just it's a very collaborative group that we've got. So.
Like Adam said, I shot Eric's film that was here last year, and it's actually part of a trilogy he's done called the Midwest Trilogy. And being from the Midwest, I kind of fetishize the Midwest. So when he asked me to, be a part of the third film in the trilogy, I just, immediately said yes. And we have a great working relationship. It's been fun.
So the
He
film...
was the only guy Eric could find who said, okay, bald man, big nose, I'll do my best to make it work.
I'll do my best to make him look pretty.
One location, in a small room. Yeah.
I love it. So the film is about a man who you play who gives a motivational speech. And, Eric was talking to him earlier that, he really had to write from a place of imagination given he hasn't been through the tragedies that the character has been through. So tell me about, as an actor, how you approach that given you haven't been through, or maybe you have, a remarkable transcendence of self.
It's a really great question, and there are 2 pieces to that for me. First of all, I think that as far as the writing of it was concerned, the trauma that Eric was writing out of personally was more kind of an existential thing that happens when when you suddenly find yourself grown up, and when you were younger you're going, when I grow up I'm going to be a famous surgeon, or you have these visions of how it's all going to turn out, and then you suddenly realize I'm in a place I never expected to be, and who in the world am I anyway, and how do I make this meaningful? And that angst I've lived, and so that's personal. I understand that now, and so that's a big part of performing it as well as it was of writing it. The tragedy itself that the character describes, I actually spent some time. I have not experienced something as horrific and difficult as is described in the piece, but there certainly are people who have. And part of my research was watching people who have been through experiences like that on YouTube, any place I could find them talking about it and what they expressed about it and how they survived the experience they'd had was really helpful to me. So there were two pieces, the piece that I could bring out of myself and the piece that I had to reference somewhere else. Yeah.
So you guys are such collaborators, which is fantastic, and there's other emerging filmmakers in the Texas community right now. David Lowery, you guys work with a lot.
Can I just say that David Lowery is the guy who saw the live show and told Eric, this can be a film. You need to make this a film. So the idea really began with David Lowery.
And David Lowery is the director of Ain't Them Body Saints, just so people know. But how do you use that companionship and your collaborative relationship to get the movie made? I mean, was it kind of run and gun? How did you get the budget together? How did you actually make this thing happen?
Well, in terms of financing, we have a sole investor, private investor who's done a couple of our films, and we were fortunate enough to know him. He's just a Dallas businessman, and so that actually wasn't the most difficult part of making the movie, which is always a wonderful thing. But really just putting the whole thing together, and I was a little anxious about our production schedule because we had 6 days to shoot, and
6 days.
Yeah, I mean it's 6 days. Yeah. So it's all in one location, and it's Barry literally talking on stage for 75 minutes, and I was anxious. My first thought is, oh my God, is he going to be able to pull this off? I mean, it's an incredible amount of work to do that, and lo and behold, Barry did, and we, didn't have any problems with our schedule, so that I think that that would have been a problem, but it ended up not being a problem. And in terms of just collaborating and everybody sort of being involved, I mean, to Barry's point about what David giving the inspiration to Eric to let's film this. And at first it was going to be a short film, and we weren't sure exactly what it was going to be. And then Eric ended up writing a little bit more and adding another character and to the play, and who wasn't in the play. And after adding that character is Robert Longstreet, and an amazing independent actor who's... Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's been in 97 Sundance movies. That might be an exaggeration, but 1 year he was in 5, I believe. So anyway, adding these pieces to make it into the feature was, something that just... That David suggested, and we all sort of came together and figured it out, and then just working with people who love film and love the project. I mean, we don't hire people. I don't like to say that I hire my crew. I hang out with my friends, and I mean, Bret came on and didn't fuss with me about money too much, and and everybody else. I mean, it's like nobody's there to collect overtime payments or something like that. It's about making something that they truly believe in. And if someone doesn't believe in the project, frankly, I don't want to work with them. So that's the way that we work. And if we're not completely committed to the project, then we don't do it. And that's what I think is different from a lot of filmmaking that I see. I mean, I freelance too and work on set sometimes, and it's not always the same kind of process. So I'm fortunate that me and my friends get to make these great movies.
Well, I mean, I think too with this project in particular, it's interesting because it's about self-transcendence when this story has transcended a plethora of mediums and a plethora of, I'm sure, hardships. So why is that? Why do you think that the story is still riding the wave?
That's a really great question. The best answer I have for that is there has been a kind of remarkable. I mean, you're in theater. You never now and then you get in a project and it's got a different energy. It's got kind of a remarkable gestalt around it or something. And this has been one of those things. Everybody remarked about how collaborative and what a great spirit the shoot had. And we get letters from people who've seen it. We've had letters from people saying, I saw this film. I realized I was cheating some people in my life. I was not being my greatest self, and I went into rehab. And it gave me the courage to do that. And so it's had a kind of different energy about it. And so it's had a life that just persists. And sometimes you collide with those things. I don't know, you're an actress, and so you know, every now and then you read something and you realize there's something about this that I own in a way I don't own the other things I read. Doesn't mean I can't act them well, doesn't mean, but somehow, or maybe it's better to say there's something about this that owns me in a way other things don't. And I think that this project has owned a lot of us. It's owned me, it's owned Eric, it's owned these guys. And I guess if we're honest, we're hoping now it'll own people who go to the movies.
Well, I look forward to hearing, stories about people, accepting the film here at the Hamptons. It's about a transcendence of self, which ultimately we all want, which maybe we can attribute to why the film has found so much success. So congratulations, guys.
Thanks. Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah.